Welcome back in the Shadow of Fire. This is session 16 in the Shadow of Death. Last session, the situation in Kusari has definitely taken on a more somber tone as the Lord of Kusari Elcontra's father, who was already in a poor physical and mental state medically, passed away. This led to a number of different interactions involving the group. There's also a lot of different things that kind of were happening at the time that were kind of put on hold because of that event. Ultimately, at the end of the back and forth that we had, we were leading up to a couple of different funeral services, some being held at the temple for the townsfolk and merchant folk who went to Iskari, the town south of here, and didn't make it back, and also for the lord of the town, of course. As Cyril kind of had conversation with, I believe, Leaf in his tower regarding some matters, another strange occurrence happened wherein Cyril's father, who has been missing for some time or thought dead, randomly appeared in the Tower of Lore, took the map that Cyril had been working on, and without even a word, teleported right back out of the tower.
What a tick.
Yeah.
One quick clarification, it was Halo who was with Cyril because Leaf
yes.
was not willing to talk to him yet.
Right. Apologies. So yes, correction there. The funeral procession, the funeral planning is basically underway, and since I really have no part in that, and I don't think I will be engaging too much with it with NPCs, I'm going to go ahead and leave that up to you. Mainly, if there's anything in the services that you ultimately want to make sure is put to the fore, or if there's anything that any conversations that you want to have with any of the representatives of the town, including the NPCs I have available. I'll make sure you know who's where and when. But yeah, table's yours, and the evening is yours. How would you like to spend it?
I'm gonna go mourn my ship and its group, since we're doing funerals right now.
Okay. Do you want to go and do that at the temple and
Sure.
ask Halo to throw something together in addition to the people he's already?
Yeah. Might as well just tag some. Everybody's been dying. Let's just tag a couple more on.
No, yeah, sure. I knew that was present, and I knew that was something that hadn't been brought up, and I was waiting for it. I think I have people in the wrong squares, but yeah, continue.
Go ahead to the temple.
Okay. Yeah, Halo, I assume, is getting ready for said services. Feel free to interact.
Morning, Halo.
Oh, it's evening, my friend.
It's
Alvin
evening.
looks a little sloshed. He's been drinking.
Is all okay with you?
I've been not doing well. I lost all my crew and just remissed.
It is trying times that have beset our town. However, there are other ways you could cope.
Yeah, I know. He pulls out a little, what do you call it, like a tincture, like a tiny little tincture, and just starts drinking the shit out of it.
To each his own, I suppose.
Could we
Would you,
possibly have a memorial for some of my members? I think a few frequented the church, not many.
I had already planned on speaking this evening for the ones we had lost at Iskarianwi. Would you like me to hold a separate ceremony for your crew, or would you like me to include them with dinner this evening?
They could be included. They died for the same cause.
And is there anything special you would like me to say about them?
Died nobly. Service of the
this.
kingdom.
This I can do for you, of course.
Thank you. I would kind of stagger out and tithe. Drop a fairly sizable pouch of coin.
Oh man, I was hoping you were going to say pickles.
Just got a bag of pickles.
Dennis.
Okay. I believe Ulaire was the last person featured at the keep. Your interaction with Lady Staccionato would have ended. Where are you going from there?
Ulaire heads back the guild hall to check on the preparations for the wake. So yeah, he heads back there and see how Kalen and Fenrir are making out.
They're mostly Fenrir's not present. He's actually engaging in errands. You believe that coordination between him, if you remember the last task you put to him, you believe that he's probably gathering the concerned parties of the fallen and making sure they're aware that there will be services at the temple this evening regarding their passing.
Okay.
But sorry, what was the name of the? What's her name?
Kalen?
Yeah, she's just kind of out of it.
Okay. And real quick, just for my own frame of mind, the memorial service for the Lord, would that most likely be happening at the same time at a different place, or is it all going to be happening at the temple?
You are presuming that if a service is going to be held, which again you haven't, I don't think you've been formally invited to, or it's been brought up to you, just kind of mentioned by her. You would assume that it would be at the keep.
Okay. How are you doing, Kalen?
I'm getting tired of it all. It just seems like we keep losing people, and I mean, I guess the town's doing fine or whatever, but
But it doesn't feel fine to us.
feels like shit.
One loss after another.
And the dwarfs are still across the bridge.
Not that I feel it yet, but hold fast, hold firm.
Oh, I know.
There will be brighter days soon.
I know. I'll keep to it.
I fear I might not make it to the... We'll see, but there may be another service I'll be attending tonight. That won't be at the temple, but I hope to see you there if I can make it.
Benfier's got it underhand. I haven't seen him as dedicated to a task. So, if you aren't present, I'm sure it'll be alright.
Thank you. care.
Mm-hmm.
If you need a couple days off, let me know. We'll manage.
I should be fine.
And with that, I think Euler might wander a bit aimlessly for a little bit, collecting his thoughts, and before he either basically he's gonna decide, does he go see Halo or does he go basically lurk around the keep to try and catch wind of things. But he's gonna wander a bit,
Okay.
trying to figure out what he wants to do.
Sure. Let's see. Leaf. I'll be honest, and I don't mean to be. I hope it's not terrible, but I can't remember where I left you last.
Left who last?
Not you. I think Leaf was talking to Halo, and then Halo left to go talk to Cyril.
So you're at the temple.
So I was at the temple after when I guess I would wait for Halo there just to see what, because I wanted
Right.
to know. No, actually, I think I would tell Halo just come back to my house when you're done talking to him.
Okay. Well, you would know based on the atmosphere at the temple that it seems that when Halo returns, they're not going to be free to, or he's not going to be free to roam around. It's going to be business time and, being the spiritual guide of the town. So if you leave here and expect him to deviate from his current task, it'll be unlikely.
I'll just wait at the temple for him then.
Okay. You would note that Fenfear, one of the Monster Hunters Guild's individuals, seems to be kind of every so often, every 30 or so minutes, coming in with some people and leading them about. Looks like they are, or he is working with Flaxius, who is up and about, but looks like he has a crutch that's been made for him to keep the weight off of the leg that was pierced all the way through. And his wife, whose name always, she's probably come up more often than
Phantheus.
That's right. I don't know why Flaxius and Phantheus are so close in my head, and I don't know. Anyway, she is...
And then you throw a Fenfear in there.
Yeah, just the F names. She seems to be helping and coordinating and making sure that these people are getting a decent seat in the kind of villa section of the temple where the services will be performed. If you want to engage with any of them, Leaf.
No, I think I'm gonna write some kind of grunge rock type music in Elvish terms.
Okay. Perfectly acceptable. Back to the temple, or the Tower of Lore. Halo and Cyril, immediately aftermath. Poof. Poof. What do you do?
So I think we ended last time with Cyril sort of...
Doodling a map.
yeah, but also kind of confessing to Halo that he felt kind of lost and that, like he was failing in some way in all of this. And I think that's kind of where we left it, if I remember correctly. Is that right, Zach? Did you tell Cyril about the funeral services?
Yeah, oh yeah. You would be
Yeah.
aware that we're holding
Yeah.
services this evening.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess he would be doodling the map. He would be sort of saying this stuff to Halo. He's upset with his father. Feels like he's not doing this right, and but he agreed that he would work with Leaf to try to do more research if that would help. But he doesn't know what to do. Basically, he doesn't know what the hell to do.
Halo would say, have you considered returning to the Nadrasi Isle? Those people seem to know something about the Ancient Ones. perhaps they could provide more insight, especially now that they've left the Isle and invaded the Rended Isle.
Would Halo have mentioned that he saw the tether, that he's seeing the tether from Cyril? Didn't you notice that last time?
The what?
The tether from like himself to the schism. He's like, like I think that's what.
Oh, I don't know if I would have mentioned it so that I'd notice it, but I am
Okay.
recognizing it.
Zero would say, I mean, yeah, that makes sense, but honestly, I would feel like I would need lots and lots of backup to do it. I don't trust myself right now.
Well, I would be happy to accompany you, but as you know, this evening I am quite preoccupied. Perhaps we can discuss tomorrow with Lady Alcantara putting together a small expedition to the Nadrasi Isle to discuss it with the people.
Yes, I will be attending the service at the temple tonight as well.
And I think it best we avoid bringing the topic up with her, at least for the day, out of respect for her present circumstances, no?
Yes, and at the right moment, we should probably bring Ulair into this since he knows Nadrasi the best. But this is not the best time for him as well.
He is grieving as well, yes. In more ways than I think you know.
Okay, so I know that Ulair has lost some of his compatriots, but I don't think that Cyril knows about the father. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So Cyril would say, can you say more?
He was very close with many that were lost. And I think he's going to take it harder than you would expect him.
Your words have some mystery in them, Halo, but I have not the energy now to think about them further. So, yeah.
To be fair, it's not my mystery to share.
Understood.
I appreciate your understanding, as always.
Do
You are wise for your age.
Do you both head back to the temple, or Cyril, do you remain at the tower?
No, I mean, is it getting close to the time where you'd want to do the preparations for the ceremony, Zach?
I have yet to head to the keep and see whether or not Lady Alcantara is going to be joining us at the temple. So I think that is where I would want to go. But you still have probably like 2 hours before the ceremony starts and picks up. So if you wanted to hang out at the tower for a little while and then head
so
over
I
to
would
the
just
temple,
do my
that
thing.
would make more sense.
Right. So actually, what Cyril would want to do is he'd want to continue making a second copy of the map from memory. So he made a first one immediately, and so he'd want to make a copy of the copy.
Perfectly
and then
fine.
at about an hour before, he'd want to head over towards the temple.
Sure. At the keep, no one's really come to you or spoken to you. You've managed to keep to yourself. You are distantly aware that the preparations for your father's ceremony are already underway. You're aware that Maluriel, the female cleric, is in his individual spiritual guide is leading the process there, and it seems like everything in the keep seems to be well oiled, working as normal, and you've been able to hide away wherever you have hidden away in the keep.
So actually, I don't think I would hide away. I'd try to find any squeaky parts and be trying to busy myself with them, if that makes sense.
I think so much what I mean is you haven't been receptive to taking anyone, because a couple people tried to, specifically Ulair, tried to engage you and tried to find you, but was kind of cut off from that. process, because
Yeah.
last session you said you kind of moved away from public eye, but you're working is the thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I said that I don't remember if I said I moved away or I went to get stuff done. Because,
Okay.
you know,
No worries.
figuring-
Both, it can, I mean, both, it's not like, you can do both. It's not like you can only
Yeah,
do one of those things.
right.
So much to say, you've been dealing with things that you haven't had a chance to deal with in a long time. And those are probably things that are pretty far removed from where people would think you would be anyways. So whatever process you're engaging in, is it you alone, or have you brought any of your attendants with you?
I mean, I'm probably. I'd say I'm alone in the sense that, like, I'm probably, like, off by my own self in, like, if I'm working anywhere, just, like, off in a room, but probably, like, near in a room nearby, like, Nakesi is around somewhere, just in case I need anything else or need to.
And she's not the prying type so much to say she gets it and doesn't have to read too hard into it or appear like she's trying to. So she keeps her distance and only comes to you when called. So, but yeah, I mean, you're certain that the ceremony process is going to be, within a couple of hours, without a doubt. Is there anything that you want to do in the keep besides the busy work and kind of staying off grid, or just out of the common normal areas in the meantime, or do you want to just remain kind of cloistered?
I mean, I might send off, like, a couple of things just to the right people, so to speak, to make sure that they know what's going on and they're able to attend. Just the, like, the normal fare, because I imagine, like, obviously, probably most of them know what's going on at this point, either through,
But formalities are important.
yeah, but formalities are important. You need to make sure to send things off properly. I'd also probably, one of the things I'd have Nakesi doing is just every once in a while, like, giving me updates on what is going on in case there's any additional preparations or something that might be overseen, as well as just, honestly, the other thing that I might have done is I might have gotten Nakesi to get some people to just go through the garden and just, like, clean it up a little bit extra, just to make sure, seeing as, that was one of the few places that my father enjoyed, make that look as good as possible for the time being.
Okay. So yeah, she's running a little ragged, but she's absolutely prepared for it and ready. She has the groundskeepers move to the cherry blossom grove at the back of the keep. She makes sure that you are well aware of any updates regarding the process that Maluriel seems to be engaging in at the northern side of the cherry blossom grove. And she also make sure that she's always prepared to take any additional orders at the time. So she completes her processes there. Is there anyone outside of the normal fare or the expected lot that you would send an invitation to this specific proceeding?
So I'm not going to.
I think you get the nature of my question.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I'm imagining the normal fare would also include at the time anyone who's, like, important in the city. So I imagine, like, Cyril, Halo. I'm not sure if Leaf would be on that list right now, and I'm not sure if he'd want to be on that list right now. Ulaire's on the list for obvious reasons. The nobles. Can't think of anyone in particular else-wise who would be there, but there is something else I do want to do.
Okay.
I have one more 3rd level spell. So I'm going to cast Sending to my mother and just say, if you don't already know, he's dead. Don't reply.
The reply is silence.
Bitch, you don't tell me what to do.
I mean, if there was a reply, I couldn't stop it. Just, you know.
No reply.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, if you check in with your mail, which I presume you have done, those letters probably would have been sent out pretty early. So, Ulair, you would have been given that by your attendant. And as you approach Halo, the temple, you're given your invitation. Cyril, as you're walking out of your temple, or out of your tower, you'd been given yours.
I'm heading to the keep.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Cyril, you were staying back at the tower while he went to the keep, and then you're going to meet him at the tower. I remember now. Okay, so you head to the keep. I don't think you've made any orders or commands to seal the keep up, so you're able to enter in. Let's see. You would probably run into Saleh, and that's the scribe and kind of numbers keeper of the court of Gaelshay. And he says, you received your invitation?
I imagine it's waiting for me at the temple. I haven't been there yet.
So you're not here to wait insanely early for the ceremony?
No, I have lots that I need to accomplish, but I did wish to speak with the lady if she is available.
I can send forth a notice of your request, but at the time she is currently engaged in other matters.
I am aware. Let her know that it's urgent.
I will. He disappears after a fashion, probably sometime into you kind of picking up some mundane task and just receiving a report from Nancy regarding the groundskeeper's success on the Cherry Blossom Grove. In walks Soleil. The town's spiritual guide is here to speak with you. I have not allowed him access to you as of yet. If you wish for me to send him along to you, I can do that.
I suppose it
Yeah.
will happen sooner or later.
He looks to you. If you are busy, keep in mind nothing is so urgent as to further upset you today. You have gone through a lot, milady. You do not need to speak to anyone if you do not wish it.
The world does not stop for my sake.
You're right, but you are of Fey blood, and you will live on this world longer than most. Time is something to be treasured, not rushed. I will bring Halo in. I'm going to go ahead and let my door open to deal with this cat meowing. You two go ahead and continue as if you met up.
Of course. So Halo enters and gives you probably the deepest and most respectful bow that he's ever given you in the entirety of your ruling the town. Then I'm gonna wait for you to address me.
How are you feeling with all of this, Halo?
My guess is better than you. And better than most. I have been around longer and I've seen quite a lot in my time. This is not the first tragedy I've had to befall. I wished to see you for a few reasons, but first, I'd like to present you with a gift, if I may.
Of course. Seems a little.
I had this idea in mind for a new piece a few weeks back. As you know, your father has been ill for some time, and I knew his time with us was limited. So, well, it's best if I show you. And Halo like takes out of his cloak what looks like a necklace on a chain with like a glass, kind of like a clouded glass, almost like a bulb at the end of it. So, I know it doesn't look like much, but here, let me show you. And he like goes over to one of the candle lights on the table and holds the bulb up to the candlelight, and on the wall there's a colored image that is almost a perfect representation of your father's like portrait. It's hopefully something to remember him by, and he hands it to you.
It doubles and triples in size.
Well, yeah. What I was going to say is, you don't necessarily, or well, you hear her mutter a thank you, and then just sort of like turn around really quickly.
Insight, if it's trained, you know exactly why.
Yeah, I gotcha. I've got it trained.
Yeah.
Moving on to a separate matter, we are planning a ceremony this evening at the temple. And I do know you are grieving, but I do not know if the townsfolk have been notified of your father's passing. And I was wondering if either you would like to attend the ceremony this evening at the temple, or if you would like me to make mention of it at this ceremony, or if you are attempting to keep this under wraps. I ask only for your guidance, my lady.
Oh, I sincerely doubt anything like this could stay under wraps for that long.
I agree.
And it would make sense to mention it at the ceremony, I suppose.
Then the only question is who should be mentioning it? Will you be attending?
I'll be there, but
If you
it's
do
might
not
be
wish,
easier from you.
I'm happy to take that burden from you, as always. Will you be holding another ceremony in private this evening?
I shall.
And after I am done at the temple, I will be happy to attend.
Please.
Is there anything else I can do for you before I head back and begin preparations for the ceremony?
You and Leaf seem close at times.
I do love his presence, yes.
Just let him know that what I did was not out of ill will towards him. Just concern.
I think there is a time and place for that discussion, and I will do my best when that time comes.
Thank you.
Halo will bow and leave you to your devices. And I gotta scurry the fuck back to the temple.
And then also, after he leaves, just sort of slip the necklace on and, for the time being, sort of like hide it away a little bit.
There you would catch sight of the ferry leaving the keep.
Yeah, I'll approach.
Keep in mind,
Pace.
keep in mind you did actually secure an invitation, so
Right. Yes, in my head, I didn't know exactly what you were saying with invitation. I was like, it had to be an invitation. That anyway. So, I do sidle up to Halo and match pace, and not so as not to delay Halo, and say, "How is she doing?"
This may be the hardest time she has experienced. But she's holding up rather well, all things considered.
Not much to be glad in, but at least that's something.
It could be much worse, yes.
Is there anything I can do to help?
I believe if you'd like to come back to the temple with me, with Flaxius out of commission, there is plenty of work to be done there. However, I do know you have things to attend to at the guild, and I wouldn't want to hold you up from that. I believe things in the keep are well in order and are unnecessary for either of our services.
With kind of like a half smile and a soft chuckle. It's like, believe it or not, I think Fanfare has it handled today. I'll come help and ease the burden off Flaxius.
It is always shocking to see who shines in tragedy, is it not? And Halo smiles back at you.
So just to make sure we retcon something to make sure the timing matters fine. Alvin, you would have basically been drinking, and then we had a conversation with you and Halo, but it wouldn't have been possible to have had based on the chronology we formed with Halo beyond that. So what I'm going to do here is drink, move to the temple to go.
So he's not drinking regular alcohol. It's a tincture with herbs in it.
Oh, for the throaty throat.
But it's like a sleeping tincture.
Sure. So a slightly more mellow, and finally built up enough courage to leave the house and go and handle this official matter regarding the death of your friends. You make your way to the temple, you intercept with Halo and Ulair, and have the exchange that you had prior. And then the three of you can move to the temple. If there's anything that needs to be engaged, now that there is a third party or a third wheel to that conversation, Ulair, if you want to interject, if you recall that conversation, it was literally just Alvin asking Halo, hey, I need help. And oh, you a drinky the liquids. Take great notes.
All Ulair would add is, if you need a companion to hear their stories, I'm willing to be that ear that you need.
I'm doing okay. And he stumbles out of the temple.
Okay.
He doesn't confide in other people.
Well, when you all kind of get into the temple, you'll note that Leaf is kind of lingering about. And it does look like Fenfear is just now leaving. You can see that he kind of, as he passes you, and he says, just going to grab a couple more folks, getting them seated. Looks to Halo. It looks like Flaxius and Plantius have set up a good seating arrangement, and since most of the arrangements had already been in place from the last services we had not more than 6 days ago, they just replaced or put them back in their places. So expedient, but really grim. Back to it. And he heads off. And yeah, like I said, Leaf is right there.
Welcome back, everybody. Wait, that didn't sound French at all. Let me read.
It was a good shot though.
Welcome back, everybody.
I see you've been hard at work.
Yes, I have some energy that I'm going to call something like, I've never heard of this, but maybe grunge. I'm making interesting songs here.
I am curious to hear this grunge.
Oh, are you, Zach? Are you?
I am.
Yes, maybe in another dimension, somebody who was related to me might have went
I'm out.
to college in 1893. Not sing it though, but I could, just imagine it in your own mind.
Um,
So many bad jokes I could make right now.
it's fair.
But, hello, everybody. I know you all are mourning people, and let me know if I can help in any way.
Okay. Halo, it does look like there's some things that you can kind of take to charge. Ulaire, not really sure where you fit in the helping process. It does look like because of the kind of repetitive, I guess, or familiar nature of this ceremony. Looks like the preparations are well underway. And you would note that Cyril is approaching the two of you.
Cyril, how are you?
It has been an interesting time lately. I hear for you as well.
Just kind of like thinking about it, and just kind of nods in assent with, I guess, a somber look on his face. It's like, yeah.
And Cyril says, "It must be hard to lose some of your men like that."
Though we don't welcome it. Death is a part of what we do. We can't avoid it always. But what was going on down there seems something completely different.
What do you mean?
It's not just death, but the transformation of someone you knew and cared about to something you'll have to eventually hunt down.
Yes, that was foul magic that did that.
Did you see the evil smile John had on his face?
Oh, I'm smiling at my cat.
Yeah, we believe you. Smiling at the cat.
It was more of it's more of a warm smile because he's being really adorable. But I mean, shit.
In the tone of what they were saying, it looked evil as shit.
Fair. I guess I was paying attention, but I guess chronologically, my smile would have probably been.
Because it did look very warm and happy.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
But Cyril would say, "But I'm here to pay my respects."
Thank you. Well, Halo direct and I shall do. Anything you need. If you need me to run errands just like Fenfair, I'll do that too. Anything to help out.
I believe at the moment it's best that you guide any new citizens to the temple to place in the seating area, and um, obviously convey this is any assistance that oh god,
No worries. I understand what you're saying.
you know what I mean.
It's cool. It's cool. So the main thing I want to focus on, I just want to make sure that we kind of get it, is if there are any like I important interactions that you want to engage in the funeral process. Otherwise, we've done one of these before.
We have, yeah. I'm happy to like skip through.
That's what I'm saying.
The
Um,
important thing
word.
is that like I do one section that's like the people from Iskar Yanwi, one section honoring the members of the boat, the crew that had passed,
yeah,
and then a brief mention at the end that our former town leader like has
sure.
also passed, and I want to like end it with a final note of like hope, and like we have made several accomplishments. Like there is reason to look forward towards the bright star. Like we did push the dwarves back to their island. We have rescued many of the people from the Iskarianwi, like
Sure.
I point to Flaxius, and like there are reasons to be hopeful for the future. It's not all down in Drower and dire.
One important thing I'll mention for your side of it, and just to be sure, Cyril, you remain at the temple. It does look like there's an overlap, by the way, so you won't be able to stay at the temple through the entirety of the service and make it to the keep service. So I just want to make sure, Cyril, are you remaining at this one and not going to the keep service?
Was he given an invitation to the keep?
You would have received it in your tower as you exited it.
Yeah, absolutely. He would go to the keep as well.
Okay. So kind of leaving about midway through. That's fine. Leaf, you did not receive an invitation to the keep, so I assume you are staying at the temple the entirety of the time.
That is correct.
And Halo, you said that you were going to try and make it, but you're probably going to go well after the services are probably concluded, because your services will continue through them, correct?
Yeah, I basically last time after the ceremony I stuck around to like console people, but this time like speech ends.
Beeline out.
I like say that I have other things to attend to, because obviously as part of my speech like I mentioned that the passed, and I do have like duties that need to be attended there. I will be available all day tomorrow for people who need me at the temple, but like for now there's Flaxius, there's Phantheus, there's Pyval
Sure.
that are here and available to assist people with their spiritual guidance.
Sure. Alvin, you would have received a notice, obviously.
I'm passed out in an alley.
Okay. Acceptable. And let's see.
Wait, which alley are you passed out in?
The one right next to the Temple of the Bright Star, between that Jade building and the cottage-looking inn or something
Mm-hmm.
on the map.
Yep.
My con save was shit.
Quothus, you'd probably be leaving with Cyril and heading that way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's everybody. Okay, great. So the one thing that you'll all note in the temple ceremony is that very much close to when the services begin and the prayers and what have you begin, an unexpected guest does arrive. Aramis Tybreash, the mayor of the town, one of the three prominent merchant lords, the elvish fellow, does enter into the host of folks, and he does seem to be engaging spiritually and religiously in the process. Okay, so Cyril and Ulair, kind of breaking away from the services, kind of midstream. You head back up that way to the keep.
Can we talk along the way?
Sure.
So Cyril, thinking that Ulair was kind of set aside, no, that was the thing that Ulair was really there for more than anything else, would say, okay, well, now let me tell you about my day. And then he goes on to tell the story about his father sort of showing up and then popping out and leaving again. He's like, yeah, that guy, he just drives me crazy. I haven't seen him for years. And then he does this. What an ass.
Busy being Harrison Ford.
God damn it, Dad.
Gosh, I need to collect my thoughts real quick.
Okay.
How would I respond? My frame of mind.
Well, again, Cyril has no idea what's going on, and so he's dissing his own dad, knowing that you're mourning your dad, basically.
So here's the thing: is it's like not knowing who my father was until like 2 days ago, and then he dies. It's very tumultuous and confusing. Like hope that there was something, and then nope. Immediately taken away. I think he just kind of very mutedly is just like, yeah. I just kind of like passively agreeing with you. Kind of just, I don't know, trying to figure out the equation of, I don't know.
People, what a bunch of bastards.
And I guess in some ways it might be I feel like Eulair's typically more talkative about things and easily agreeable and all that, and this it is different than maybe past interactions.
Would Cyril notice anything weird about Ulair's demeanor? I mean, we did just come from a funeral for his men, but like that aside.
As we've covered before, Quothus is not exactly the most guarded or
Can't hear you.
Muted.
Oh, test.
Yes.
Okay. Quothus is not the most functional when it comes to keeping things that are emotionally present. I mean, he literally changes colors based on his emotional state. Like he's not a hard one to read. So you definitely know that there's something there. There's something weird. There's something going on. He's definitely very traumatized right now, but there's no indicator as to whether it has to do with the fact that Alcantara and him haven't been there, and now they both he never knew his father, and now she doesn't have her father. Maybe there's that connection. It could be the case that he's just upset that all these people have passed away. He could be upset about Asher leaving. He could be upset about a lot of things. There's a lot there.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the person who has the most right to be absolutely upset and out of it is definitely him.
Got it.
If nothing else happens between you two on the way to the keep.
No.
All right. Alvin drunk inebriated enough. Not inebriated, just not sober.
Incapacitated.
That's a good word. Let's go with that. And then Leaf and Halo back at the temple. You two arrive at the keep. You basically are led by attendants to the back doors that exit out into the church. Excuse me,
Does
church.
Leaf come with me?
No, you don't leave at the same time as they do. They leave.
I thought you said Leaf and Halo.
I said Leaf and Halo are at the temple.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you haven't left yet. You got to finish the services.
Yep.
You don't have to stay after, but yeah, you're probably going to arrive at the keep probably when they're done with their services there. So, yeah, there's a bit of
I misunderstood.
No worries. So that said, you two arrive at the keep, and like I said, you're led to the back, entering into the Cherry Blossom Grove. There are a number of different individuals who are present. You see Balthar, you see, a couple of other prominent individuals of the town. You see Malorial Stationadel, who I've mentioned a couple of times, and some of you have had the good fortune to talk with her. She appears to be at the far end of the grove. It looks like the father's body is dressed in white gown. Looks like it has been cleansed physically. Looks like it has been covered with sweet oils. Looks like it is currently laying on a stone slab. And people have been kind of, as you have entered in, people have been moving up to basically give condolences. And it looks like one portion of the process is people will leave a piece of something of some effect on the slab with the body. You'd probably be witnessing Balthar placing a short sword down next to your father's body as he kind of steps away with a "I'm not crying, you're crying" face. And heads back into the group that's kind of milling around. And what do you two do? And more importantly, what is Lady Alcantara? Where's Lady Alcantara standing in this process?
So I'd imagine I'm just sort of standing, probably up in a prominent place. I should learn how to speak English one of these days. Somewhat prominent place up near, like the I'm not sure necessarily whether you describe it in the front or the back, but like somewhere where I can greet people.
Basically, if you're greeting, you'd be at the doors. So that would be, it kind of enters out into the grove, and kind of off to the side towards the coast is the house where he was living. And then if you continue into the Cherry Blossom Grove, at the very far back end of the grove, there's kind of a patch that has been made ready for where he'll be buried and where a tree will be placed over top him. So you're staying as far away from the body as possible. One thing I want to make sure you know is if you have seen the body, Alcantara, your father's, it does appear that whatever Malurial did to him has basically made him look more healthy and more vigorous than you can even remember him being. He appears to be youthful. Like an entire century has been taken from him in this state. So, if nothing else, the groundskeepers have done a great job of making sure that the grove is ready. Everything appears to be perfect in that regard. But yeah, you would see then Cyril and Ulair entering in.
I'm sure there'd be some sort of like elvish saying to say at funerals, and I'd say that.
Okay.
I'm not sure I have the energy right now to think of something.
Cyril would take something from his robes. You see it's a very ornate quill with feathers and twisted around a piece of metal with some engravings on it, and he would put it on the.
Oh, so you head back to the okay, because again, real quick, just rewinding.
Sure. So if this would be in another location, he would do it beforehand.
Okay, so it goes Alcantara at the front door, and then you enter into the grove. You have to walk all the way across the grove to get to where he's laying in state.
Got it. So then I would do that at the end.
Yes. So Alcantara first if you want to talk to her. If not, that's fine too.
That's fine. Cyril would. I didn't understand the order of things, but
sorry.
You'd say, "I'm sorry for your loss."
I would, like the elvish kind of Alcantara's stand typical Elvish whatever, and be the response for it, and kind of like
We reward
sharing some-
creativity.
yeah. All right. I don't since I don't have a thing to go off of.
No
The
worries.
tagline would be, "May he finally find rest in the Fae. May his mind be restored. And may he find the light of the ever star shining on him forevermore."
It's a good effort.
Yeah. One with the spirit of the wood or something like that. Yeah.
Sound like a bunch of hippies. I'm kidding,
We're freaking elves. What do you expect? We're not dwarves.
Fair enough, fair
Yeah,
enough.
come on. What are we gonna say? May he be buried deeply underground?
Right.
The deepest of deeps.
With iron in hand.
And
Great.
gold ahead.
Great video, guys.
But yeah, if there's... Go ahead. Sorry.
No. So I
Yeah.
guess Ulair and Sura would say these things.
Yeah, and if there's no other engagement, Cyril, you head back that way. As you're heading back that way, you can see that Balthar's kind of regrouping with a couple of other, known faces of the town. Nobody super important, but definitely people who's come by the keep with all matters of import. And Balthar kind of looks to you and says, "Hey, did your father get in touch with you?"
If by getting in touch you mean teleporting in, grabbing my most important document, and quickly teleporting away without almost a word, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about like what he would do. He came by. It was
He
really...
talks to you?
He was really upset. He wanted his map back. I told him I didn't have it. I gave it to you. And he disappeared. And
Yeah.
It wasn't a very long conversation. It was just him telling me he wanted his map back.
Longer than the conversation I had with him.
Well, I'm sorry about that. Can't help you there. But
Well, he got his map.
fair enough.
He got what was important to him in that room, I guess.
Right.
Why'd you leave?
I mean, I'm sure he loves you.
Never said so.
Wow, laid on thick, John.
Balthar kind of just moves away from you.
Shrugs and walks away.
So Cyril would approach the altar and lay the ornate quill on it like you mentioned, and if Ulair is anywhere near, he would say, "This was my father's. He knew. He used it when he had worked with Alcantra's father."
Make a perception check, the two of you.
50.
25, natural 20.
Yep, so as you're talking, and you're kind of saying that, and you're looking at the quill, you see a magical flash appear up near his chest. Very small, very faint, but you see a ring appear on his chest.
Like an actual ring or
Like
an
a-
image of a ring?
Like a wedding band
Okay.
appear on his chest.
His wife's there.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she's there, but she definitely did something, I think.
It's still there, or is it like a flash and goes away?
It's like a small purple flash, like teleportation or conjuration magic, and you see a ring appear laying on his chest, like laying on him.
Uh-huh.
Okay. That makes it more clear what happened.
Alair did not see it. And
Okay.
Cyril just on the nose saw it.
Wow.
Okay.
You won't pick it up.
No.
Pick it up
He
and
would
pocket
say
it.
that. He would mention it. He would walk to Lady Alcantra and say,
Well, Lady Alcantra's across the field. She's basically staying away from and say, Melorio Stationato, the priestess is standing nearby.
Okay. And he would say to Maluriel then, I think we've had a visit by Alcantra's mother.
So,
Great. And then he wouldn't even look at her anymore and just walk away and head towards Alcantra. He's like, fuck this.
Awkward turtle.
I'm pretty sure that Alcantra would be interested in this even though she's not.
So like with the pleasantries with Alcantara, like there's almost like a purposeful, like, Eulair in the past has been informal, partially because he's just uneasy, but purposely like making a point to not add any additional burden with him slipping in any way. Like he's trying to play straight as much as possible. And so after and so as they approach the Lord and Cyril walks away, he pulls from a pouch or his vest, kind of neatly folded and kind of in a way to bundled up his baby blanket, and like reaches down and just kind of like rests it underneath the Lord's head, just so it's also not like it's hidden of a sorts. He doesn't want to make it be noticed, but for it to be there.
You feel a hand placed on your shoulder. You look
I
back and you see that Maluriel's placed her hand on your shoulder. She smiles, nods her head.
And I just take a moment of silence.
So the way you're positioned right now, it looks like Ulair's picture ears are actually your ears.
I know.
Anyway.
And so after a brief moment, and kind of like a nod of thanks to Maluriel, I kind of step back and
Let others come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's winding down on the gift-giving process of the funeral. But Cyril, you make your way across the grove to Lady Alcantra.
John, I was going to say also, once like everyone there that is like supposed to be there comes, I would probably
Alvin Elford did not
move
arrive. Alvin Elford did not arrive.
Damn it, that's right, he didn't. So I'd be waiting for Alvin.
You're gonna be waiting a while.
And
I'm
nobody.
not going to wait the whole time. Like, given a certain amount of time of him not showing up, I'd move. But it probably wouldn't be that time yet.
Yeah, nobody would know where he's at. Actually, he's kind of.
I was like literally right outside the temple.
You said an alleyway. Nobody was walking down alleyways.
That's true.
So, Cyril, you approach Alcantra.
Yep. And would say, Lady Alcantra, I saw a flash of magic. It makes me think your mother has paid her respects to your father.
Going to say, you see a bit of an icy look come over my face, and I just sort of look at you and just say, fine, and just turn away.
Cyril says, I thought you'd like to know. And then he backs away.
So as he walks away, and as you kind of imagine turning around and yelling at Cyril and basically destroying him mentally, and like the rage that's filling.
Cyril's not the one that I want to yell at.
Oh no, I know.
I will definitely take a competent like replacement.
Right, yeah, exactly. As the baser part of you wants to use him as a verbal punching bag, he moves away. But yeah, do you go up to the others, the guests? Because you know that based on timing, very shortly what's going to happen is after the gift-giving process comes basically the benediction services or whatever. I haven't been to church for a long time. It shows. You would note that they are basically just going to go through that process, and then they're going to perform the actual ritual, the actual ceremony of placing him in the ground. That's next.
Yeah, I would probably, when that is taking place, or like, you know, once again, like it seems like the appropriate time, move up near where Memorial is.
Right.
Um, and just sort of like take a place up there. Not standing directly next to her. I'd imagine I'd either be like slightly off to the side, on the opposite like side, so to speak, if that makes, you know.
Perfect sense.
If she's at the head, I'm at the feet, and or vice versa.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you investigate the ring?
I just sort of look to see it as I'm passing.
The perfect pair to the ring that your father's worn ever since you've known him, and have been able to keep memories. It's the pair to his wedding band. She apparently had kept it.
Figured as much. Also, I probably would have done this. I'm not entirely sure when, but I'd probably do it like towards the end, before burying / after
Sure.
everything's done. But I would probably trying to think what would be an appropriate sort of thing. I'd probably take a just like handmade wooden laurel that like I would have worked on myself at some point during the day.
Yeah.
From one of the cherry blossoms, and just place that on his head.
Yep. You would know too that market tradition is offspring of the deceased will sometimes leave locks of their own hair as a part of it as well. So just to note, there, it's probably interwoven with the wood if you're leaving it. But yeah, the ceremony basically comes to its conclusion, and the end portion of the ceremony is beginning. Halo, you have no problem sneaking in at this point, having completed the ceremonies, and you basically witness as Maluriel Stationato, priestess of the goddess of the moon, prepares and then finishes the ritual, placing him in the ground, moving the earth with magic over top of him, as she places the cherry blossom tree, or the cherry tree, cherry blossom tree, a cherry tree into the ground above where he's placed, and starts pushing the dirt around it to settle it to right. She then causes rain to come from the heavens with her magic, descending down on that spot, dampening the ground, and completing the ritual. Seems like most of those present mill around, although most parties seem to kind of leave pretty quickly after the ceremony's concluded. Balthar is one of the ones that leaves pretty quickly. And yeah, Halo, you arrive kind of to witness that last portion of it. But yeah, if there's anything that you lot want to engage in before you kind of turn down for the evening.
If no one else has anything, I actually at one point would like to just tell Ulair before he heads out that I'd wish to speak to him.
Yes.
Right, so I'm assuming it would be after everyone's headed out and everything is sort of settled down. And
Of course.
you know, I'd have things set up in basically like the chess room / like study area, and it would just be like the two of us there, whatever. And I'm just sort of like, you know, just sort of pace a little bit, and I'm just sort of like, you know, if I abdicate, you'd probably be the person that should get the crown. What do you think of that?
Step, 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 step.
Are you
This
saying
is
I
for
stab
Lee.
him or he stabs me?
Either way.
The Lannisters send their regards.
Oh my gosh, sorry, it's all about the town. You know that's the worst choice you could ever make. Well, maybe not the worst, but I have far to go. Close.
I missed the last part of what
Yeah,
you
you're
said.
cutting in and out, Tim.
One second. Let me try plugging. Is it better?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll try and speak a little. If you care anything about this, you know the potential worst
Right out the window.
make.
While you figure your stuff out, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to Leaf. Leaf, make a perception check.
Okay, hang on a second.
So this is to see if Leaf spots Alvin or not, right?
Yeah.
11.
You see a couple of people kind of gawking, pointing, and looking around. One of them says, "Where's the guard? We need a guard." And it looks like they're concerned about something in an alleyway.
Twilight Knight's still with me, so I would go over with the Twilight Knight.
Okay. Yeah, and you would see Alvin Alford without their Twilight Knight. Seems that they had been dismissed and left away. But Alvin looks like he's unconscious, and looks like there's a bit of drool coming out of the side of his face. He looks, yeah.
Leaf would say, Twilight Knight, my friend, I have his name, but I forget what it is.
Sure.
Please pick Alvin up, Lord Alvin, and we will take him back to his house.
I will contact his Twilight Knight to see where they're at and have them meet me halfway. I will return to you at your home.
I will come with you.
Oh, of course. And he picks him up by the scruff of his neck. He aims it away. He's totally prepared. And chucks that bad boy up on his shoulder. And
Picks him up gently, caresses his head.
as the bobbling kind of settles in with you, Alvin, you do feel conscious, but not grounded. You definitely aren't sure where you're at or what's happening, but you do recognize Leaf kind of walking next to you, and you're on somebody.
I just babble incoherently about it's my fault, yada yada yada. You get the gist.
Yep. Okay. Eventually, you are passed off from one Twilight Knight to the other. The other.
Wait. No. Is it old boy?
It's your Twilight Knight.
Seaford?
No.
Fuck you, Seaford! That would be Seaford.
Yeah, it would be. It's your Twilight Knight. You start?
I cuss him.
Yeah.
I just fucking incoherent babble cussing.
He looks to the other
Lieutenant
Twilight.
Dan style.
He looks to the other Twilight. Dan. He looks.
Let me die. Should have let me to die.
He looks to the other Twilight Knight, and in a moment where you're kind of lulling for a second, not able to yell from the raspiness, he looks to you and he says, "What we've gone through together is obviously taking a toll on him, and he told me to keep away from him. I will return him to his banner, and I will wait outside his house. I will wait for further orders." The Twilight Knight, the one that came with you, Leaf, says, "Of course." And then the two of them kind of break away for a second, and then kind of both stop, and then both look at each other. Your Twilight Knight looks to you and says, "Captain Onadrasi has just reported something. He says that there is a detachment from Ballenroth that has crossed the bridge. Peace flags."
Requesting somebody from our town to go there to meet him.
I think they are waiting for Alcantara's word back, but based on her activities for the evening, I assume that the dwarf will be made to wait for the night. I suppose we'll go ahead and take our rest as well. He says as he kind of takes his cloak off, furls it, and a bit of puke kind of smashes onto the ground near him, kind of whips it back around onto his back.
Wait, is that my Twilight Knight or Alvin?
Your Twilight Knight just threw Alvin's puke off because he had him over his shoulder, and Alvin was back this way, headwise. So if he was still, if there was still leakage,
Yeah.
it was on the cloak, and now it's on the floor.
Yes, being a Twilight Knight can be very precarious, and you could get lots of crap on you, you know.
Yep. The two of you walk back to your house. That said, Lady Alcantara and Ulaire, one more time. Let's give it a go.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Sounds good.
All right. You know, if I abdicate, it'd be you who'd probably take over. You know, if you cared anything about this town, that would potentially be the worst idea you could make. You've led this town. Shoot, I forget what I said. Something about I come nowhere close to the competence with which you've led this town so far. You've done a good job, Alcantara.
Perhaps I have, or perhaps I've just been lucky.
You haven't been perfect, but it was you who made the decision to attack the bridge right away. If not for that, what would have happened? We would have the dwarves breathing down our necks, just one length of bridge away.
Perhaps you're right, but after a day like this, it feels as though that is one good decision among a sea of poor. I don't mean to burden you too much.
In any
It was
way
a
I can
silly
help
thought.
ease your burden, I'm here for you.
Well, thank you.
I think the two of you kind of break off, and Ulaire, you head out. You would note that both of your Twilight Knights are waiting outside. As you exit Ulaire, your Twilight Knight informs you of what I've already told the others, and Lady Alcantara, your Twilight Knight, enters in and explains to you in more detail. Lady Alcantara, the Twilight Knights at Nadrasi have been met on the northern side by a dwarven contingent bearing peace flags. It seems that the leader of this detachment has been sent to request a stand down. They have not been allowed to pass. The captain waits for your word.
And then what time in the evening is it? I'm assuming
It's 11. Like,
Yeah.
it's damn near midnight.
And how long does it take to get to Nadrasi?
From the northern side of the island, it would take the better part of 5 hours. So they would be here before first light. If they were allowed to pass now. But if they were kept to wait until early morning, they'd be here mid-morning.
Inform them. Ooh, I'm so tempted to just say like that to come as soon as they're ready, but I don't know. Sleep is not a bad idea on a certain level.
Yeah.
You could trance 4 hours. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I know. I can't actually remember. I don't think I have trancing though with my
We-
setup.
I gave you
Do I?
trance because you're elf.
Okay, gotcha. I couldn't remember. Some things I know were swapped out, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say probably that they will be allowed in the morning, and basically, if he's able to make sure that there are some of the knights to escort them and some to stay on the island so as to not see control, like, try to remember, does he have a full battalion basically with him?
Yeah, 50 Twilight Knights.
Yeah, so basically just to like send some of his knights with the dwarves, and also wait, how many of the dwarves are there? I should ask too.
Yeah, he states that there are 12 total dwarves, and he states his entire. The Twilight Knight basically says what you say, and then he replies back. It seems that the captain will be pushing with the retinue back, so that if any treachery is afoot, they are on hand and ready to react.
Good.
All right. So, to confirm, the Twilight Knight says at Bicavaria's first light, the retinue will be escorted by the Twilight Knight and the captain back to Kasari Anwi to engage with you in peaceful discourse. Do you wish for it to take place here at the keep, or perhaps right at the front near the bridge where a more defensible posture can be made?
I would say we will do it at the keep, but I shall meet them at the bridge.
Very good. Should I... all of your associates have been informed. This includes Leaf. I apologize. But it does seem that one of the merchant lords was within earshot when they were receiving the message. Is the best way to describe it. Kind of scratches his head. Shall I invite anyone in particular to the meeting?
Cyril should be here.
Of course.
Halo may not be a bad one to have either.
Of course.
And possibly Alvin and Balthar.
Of course.
Balthar would be at least knowledgeable in tradition, if nothing else, and perhaps will be a reminder to them.
Of course. I will put forward the requests for them to attend at first light here at the keep to escort you to the bridge. Those messages are put forth to those who were just cited. Alvin, obviously you do not receive your message. You are unconscious. But the rest of you do. And night continues on unabated. And you awake the next morning. Alvin, go ahead and make me a Constitution saving throw. You have a light, with that 18 Constitution saving throw, you have a light kind of sense of just malaise. Like there's just this kind of lingering kind of nausea from the night before. It's not full on exhaustion. You kind of have like a light pain in your chest from throwing up. Not that, oh my god,
Right.
what did I do to my body feeling. So yeah, there's that. But your Twilight Knight would inform you, would have left a note out for you, explaining the situation regarding what needs to be done today.
I would scribble a note to him, basically.
Oh, he's right outside. If you want to just...
Yeah, I would beckon him inside and then just tell him speak nothing of what happened yesterday.
If you recall, only 2 others besides me saw of it.
Who?
Well, Master Leaf and his Twilight Knight companion.
Great, a bard. Everyone will know.
So as you understand, there is
Hey,
a Twilight.
I'd like to say, Dan, you should just be glad that the bard didn't try to seduce you in your drunken state.
There is a Twilight Knight present with him. If you'd like, I can instantaneously inform his compatriot to.
What of citizens?
Only a couple.
Do we know who?
No.
Did they know who I was?
If you wish to spin this, sir, an easy matter would be you were taken over with a desire to abate the feelings of despair and sadness from losing such a close friend of your father's. And also the common folk. I'm sure those who have ever had a drink would be able to sympathize with that desire to block certain emotions. Even the elves find this to be a necessary escape sometimes.
Still do not wish to have my name sullied or my image.
I do not think it will be, but we will cut it off if it is. Regardless, you are expected to meet at the keep with Lady Alcantara. You were informed last night, but I don't think you were in a state to receive the message. You might prove late. Speaking of which, Balthar has declined the opportunity to attend, and he states in the reply back, the dwarfs will not see me as an ally or someone who will help assuage these negotiations and discussions. I will serve as a reminder of a problem, a very old one. You do not want me there? I serve you best by not attending.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know that he is basically regarded by the Ballenroth as a traitor. But yeah, Cyril, you do show up on time.
Mhm.
And who else? Oh,
Me?
all right, Halo, you come.
Yes.
All right, Halo and Cyril.
Cool.
You wait for a while, expecting Alvin to show up, and he hasn't yet.
That's fine. I did say that, like, the plan was to meet them at the gate. So at a certain point, whether Alvin's there or not, I would just inform someone at the keep. If Alvin comes, we're at the gates. We will return with the.
As you say that to the person at the gates, I say, "Is his Twilight not with him? Can we not get a hold of him now?"
Your Twilight Knight kind of leans in and says, "He's a bit under the weather." The Twilight
And
Knight.
I don't think the message is going to get to him either way.
The Twilight Knight, who is currently overseeing him, has explained that the second he has awakened, he will be directed where we are located. And sure enough, amidst your travels, somewhere around the old Dwarfs temple, the lot of you traveling with, I presume, guard across town will run into Alvin and his Twilight Knight. Alvin, you are basically led, once you kind of get ready and think you're running late, to basically intercept the retinue.
High five.
Okay.
I heard rumors among the staff that there was apparently a rat found in an alleyway.
You've actually probably never seen him do this. He actually shies away. Ashamed. You would understand he takes duty very seriously. and signs of weakness. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like much more comes from it. A lot of you kind of move into the Stone Guard and then head up to the Nadrasi Bridge, where you can see, not too far from where you're coming, a mass of individuals, about 50 to 60, traveling in your direction. You can see about 20 of them break off and kind of stop the other part. And these 20 approach. You can see that the captain is amongst them. And he kind of starts yelling out orders. You see the Twilight Knights that remained present in the fortifications on the sides of the bridge, preparing. And you watch as the captain kind of makes everything ready for you. Then kind of stops and looks over to you with a smile and says, "We are ready. If you are ready, milady."
Yes.
Condolences, by the way. And turns his attention back to the bridge. He makes a signal, and you watch as the 30 plus the 12 walk across. They kind of fan out from them, forming kind of a circular barrier that kind of washes over you as you enter in, and the 12 dwarfs kind of move forward. The leader of the dwarfs, of this group of dwarfs, appears to be a very old, very rugged looking dwarf. His hair is kind of missing in patches. Looks like it's been kind of scratched away, and you can see kind of rash and kind of like peeling skin. It looks like the plush beneath the pink like locations where it looks like it's been kind of rubbed raw. Is kind of a ruddy kind of tan, and his hair is kind of like a grayish color, but you can see kind of strands of yellow within. He wears a kind of dark black, like very, very deep black robe with kind of yellow accents, and you can see on his shoulders he has the circular symbol of the Dwarfs, which is just the two dark wedges and the two red wedges kind of circle.
Oh, dang it, I forgot to mention I wanted to send a letter through the portal to
Okay, that's fine.
there earlier.
That's fine.
I'm sorry. I just remembered that I meant to mention that.
It's sent. It's perfectly fine. There's no quick reception.
Yeah.
You would know that it does seem that that's still happening. But that said, his retinue, it appears that 4 of them are kind of courtly looking dwarves. They don't look like they're terribly mighty or anything. Then there are 6 more amongst the number that appear to be dwarven defenders, shields, axes. The axes have been placed on their lower backs, and it looks like in such a way that the handle would be a chore to grab. Cyril, you would, in your studies of dwarven tactics and the like, would note that this is not done for any kind of weird, measure or anything. The reason why the axes are being placed like this is to signify to any who are witnessing this that they mean no aggression. But the shields are kept on. And then there is a 7th warrior type who appears to be in kind of a very ornate armor with a greatsword at his back. Not in a precarious way. It seems that it's ready to be brandished if necessary. And he has bright yellow beard, bright yellow hair, and basically if you were to kind of go with like one of those de-aging programs or whatever, those aging programs, if you took the warrior dwarf in the fine armor and like twisted him to like 50, 80 years forward, or 100 or so years forward, he would look like the old leader of this group.
As they approach, I'm going to lightly touch Alcontra's shoulder and grant her Eagle's Splendor through my enhance ability, and just say, "Be strong, my lady." So you now have advantage on all charisma checks for the next hour.
Nice. Trying to think. Is there? I would assume probably Cyril of all people would know some sort of like dwarven breed. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what to do in this situation necessarily. Both
Like-
Alcantara, I'd imagine, is still slightly out of sorts from yesterday, and me, Matt, the player, I'm trying to figure out what to do too.
Are you talking about in terms of etiquette or a tactical
I was
plan?
thinking more in etiquette right now. Just again, the plan was to meet them at the bridge and, you know. Well,
I believe their weapons are ours.
Well, yeah. Suppose I could say a sort of like, you know, welcome.
The old man kind of steps away from the throng, kind of moves in closer. You can see all the Twilight Knights kind of stepping in behind you,
Yeah.
the lot of you, and kind of placing their hands on their swords. He raises his hand and says,
Well, I was going to raise my hand just for the like holding off.
the two of you kind of move to abate the present hostilities, and the old dwarf says, "So, it would seem that this war is concluded. King Darkhelm is dead. Murdered in his
What?
bed last night.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm sure you are. But as new power resides in Darkhelm, so too are new practices. I'm sure you are of the understanding that if we committed to it and had our full attention on this coastline, your town would be but a smoking crater. Unfortunately, more pressing matters are present than the elves of the Rended Island. And our attention, unfortunately, will never be 100% focused on anything, so long as each patriarch and matriarch of their clan has sovereignty over their own."
Just as a question, John, the whole Kasari Yanwei would be a crater thing. Is that simply a dwarvish sort of like a boastfulness, or is that an actual statement of he actually believes that? You know, I'm trying to figure out. Is it just sort of
Make an insight check.
okay? So 15.
You think there's a measure of both. It does seem that this individual isn't speaking from 100% arrogance in that statement. And as you kind of think about it, the battle tactics at Nadrasi were present, but you do understand that it wasn't a full dwarvish force. There was no navy accoutrement. There was no. There were hardly any real, overt motions. It was kind of a small force that was sent for you, but at the same time, you decimated it. So you could probably have done to fight even stronger forces. So it sounds like there's a bit of pride there, but it doesn't sound like it's spoken out of arrogance.
Right.
They also have those pretty crazy
Fortress
cannons.
cannons. Yeah.
I'd imagine it would be potentially harder than you would think to wipe this place off as a crater, but I do acknowledge your great forces.
Undoubtedly so. I do not mean to measure the potentials of what could have happened had our continued fighting continued. I mean to simply observe that we both can agree if the Rended Isle went full on against the forces of the Adamant Isle, at least this town would have been obliterated. You're kind of like, yeah, no, he right.
Well, I might think that, but I'm not going to say that.
No, yeah, I know. In your brain, you're like,
Perhaps, yes.
Sounds like
Perhaps it would be.
strategically you're found wanting.
he kind of shrugs his shoulders. Again, I'm not here to discuss what could have been.
No.
You're
it's
wasting our
not.
time.
I'm not.
Alvin. Just
It was a
Cool.
dwarven ballista that hit my ship, right?
Yeah.
Fuck these guys.
Alvin, hold on. Yeah. Trying to just sort of like regain the conversation.
Sure.
I'd say, well, it does not do us, or it does not do any of us good to dwell on what could have been.
Again, I mentioned it in passing, and I apologize for the statement, but I do want to make sure you understand my purpose here is not to be infuriating.
Oh, of course not. And no offense is taken.
Fair enough.
Simply verbal parley. Do you wish to speak more at the keep?
I do not. I understand that it is necessary for the pleasantries of the elvish folk to make a conversation like this more comfortable for all parties. But I am not one who desires comforts. I never have. I come to you to simply state 3 facts. One has already been stated. King Darkhelm was slain in his bed last night. The assassin is presumed to be an elvish agent.
Daddy.
That is
Friend.
the first piece of information. The second is to tell you who I am. I am Bolan, Darkwelder. I am the second cousin of King Darkhelm. And though I am too old to hold the throne, my son is not. And he is in line to take that position. Things are a bit different in our nation than they are in yours, however. It is not something that will be granted to him or voted upon like your war queen or king. No. The king must prove himself against all rivals to ascend. My son, Berwick, must kill all or cause all who oppose to stand down. That is the second piece of information. The third piece of information is that understanding the nature of the first 2 pieces of information, understanding that Darkwelder has a very strong claim upon the throne, not only because of its relation, but also because of its strength. I come to you now before others I would call peers would arrive here to ask you to ally with me. If I have your word that you will give me the ear of the War Queen when it is available, I understand it is not currently. Darkhelm had a strong alliance with Alteria. one that continually causes our nation problems. But I understand the battle on that front has not concluded. At least I have not heard word that it is concluded. Back to my point. The Dark Welder clan will ally with the people of Kasari Yanwi. We will defend you from our own brethren. We will defend you from all threats. Amidst the bridge, we will not cross the bridge if you so wish it. We will still maintain our part of this bargain. And all that I ask of you is that when the War Queen's ear does become available, you make sure that I can gain it.
I think we can perhaps make some arrangement.
Good. I'm glad this did not have to go poorly. Now that we are allied, a number of my now that we are allied, a number of my ships would like to take port here and acquire some food.
And date your daughters.
Only a pair of them, and they're already ready to be received. And as he says that, he kind of raises his hand, and as he does so, you watch as two ships rise up out of the sea on either side of the bridge. The Twilight Knights are all like grasping their swords, looking at the situation, and the dwarf kind of looks to you. We mean no harm. I give you my word. Understanding, and he looks to everyone kind of looking for someone who might be knowledgeable, that honor is the most important thing amongst a dwarf of the Ballenroth people. 100% accurate, by the way, Cyril. Perception of honor is the most important thing to a dwarf.
Understood. No action shall be taken against them unless an action is taken against us first.
If you so wish it, we will keep to our ships. We simply wish to make trade with the portsmen and be able to acquire some food. These particular ships have been dealing with matters on the southern coast of our own isle and have been drawn for this specific engagement if you saw it necessary to well, if there was bad blood here and conversation could not be had in a peaceful manner. As you can more than agree, as he gestures towards your Twilight Knights, security is important, and having a defensive action is also important.
Oh, of course. I am perfectly fine if they wish to come off the ships. I will, of course, state that due to recent events, perhaps not everyone in the town will be completely trusting of the situation, but I hope you do not hold that against us.
We will take your lead, the master of your port's lead, regarding engagements with the people of your town. We are at your jurisdiction and your pleasure. He whispers something back to one of the courtiers. They kind of whisper something into a green stone, and you watch the ship that was on the northern side dip into the waves and then come back up on the other side. These ships are not like anything you've seen so far. They appear to be like very cool dwarvish submarines. Like, they're pretty cool in my brain. And I don't have a picture or anything to show you, but they're rad.
I have a question, John. Do they have airships painted on the side for how many airships they've shot down? Like 5? Are they aces or anything?
Well, this guy's
There's
trying
a French code on one of them.
he's trying to stir the pot, this motherfucker.
I understand why fucking El Contra raped your mind.
That was Kevin,
Mr.
not
Sir, Mr. Sir.
He had no French accent there.
My
Now he was
question is, what was Zach going to say? Because he.
Yeah, sorry, Zach.
Yeah, I would tap on Lady Alcadra's shoulder and be like, if I may,
Yes.
I just, out of curiosity, what has engaged your people on the southern part of your island?
Oh, interesting question. Yes. It would seem that elementals have been traveling across the waves from the center isle. And you would know, out of character note, it's called different. It's called the Stormheart on the Elder side. The dwarves call it the center isle.
Nothing too pressing, I hope. Nothing that is outside of your.
Well, it has been some 100 years since we've seen any such creatures. Make sure. I was but a boy when I think the last occurrence happened. We have defensive measures prepared for it. If we were to go to blows, I'll be honest. The ships probably wouldn't have done too much as they are prepared for a different type of engagement, but a show of force, of course. You don't want to tell your weaknesses. Kind of looking to Halo, kind of sheepishly. He then kind of looks back to the sea and then looks back to you again and says, I don't know what's causing them to come out and about, but they have been problematic. Most of the people, my peers, the other masters of their clans, are not terribly interested in the matter as it doesn't affect them high up in the eye of the world.
Well, if you need any help researching, my advisor Cyril is quite learned and I'm sure would take a keen interest in this topic.
Cyril bows.
Looks back to the courtiers. They kind of shrug their shoulders as they kind of talk to each other in Dwarvish and whispers.
What do they say? I read their lips.
Can I hear anything?
Make a perception check for the lip reading. I know normally you can just do it, but they're pretty bushy beards. Yeah, fair enough. It seems like they're he turns away from you, so you don't see what he says, but you presume he's saying and asking them, is that something you'd be interested in? And they're basically replying, I don't know. If there was an exchange of information, maybe. I don't think there's anything we'd really be too terribly interested from them, other than what the Alterians seek, and that's it. And out of character, you would know that the Alterians think there's a dragon in the center of the Rented Isle. The dwarves seem to pass it off as a fleeting curiosity, not something like, we need to know about that dragon.
What about a giant turtle in the center of the isle?
That's over there. If you want to ask them about the turtle, they have been doing a lot of seafaring and weirdness in the southern portion of the island. Maybe they've seen it.
Do I know? Oh, I do know about this turtle. I don't want to talk to these people. Fuck them. I don't like them. I want to get back to the port so I can let them have really great rates for all this food they want to buy from us.
Fair enough.
They're not going to get any good prices. They're going to fucking be charged out of the ass.
Fair enough.
We just got out of war with these people. I'm not here to feed them.
Fair enough.
Alvin's trying to get a new flying ship, basically,
So
out of the door.
When you say unfair, do you mean basically so unfair it's unpayable, or do you mean
No.
double?
It's I'm bleeding
doubling
them.
like doubling it.
Bleeding them. Like I'm gonna make it to where they can afford it, but I'm taking everything that they can afford.
So you don't know what they have. So like, are you?
Well,
are you doubling the prices for everything, or are you
180%?
Okay, then they're more than happy to pay it. In fact, they pay you double the price on top of, like, they literally pay you double.
380%? What are you talking about?
No, they're giving you 200% straight up. Boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I should ask.
No,
I
no,
mean,
no.
I'm number one. I'm not a businessman. Alvin's. What I'm trying to say is, Alvin would know what to charge them.
You would
Dan Young
you
does
would
not know what to charge them.
you would double your rates, and they seem to be expecting of that. Basically, you're trying to be a shrewd, unless you're trying to turn them away. If you're trying to just be kind of like, I
I
want.
mean,
to
how is our people fed? Are we hurting on food?
No,
No, not at all.
Okay.
hell no. But yeah, you
So
have.
what I would like to do is try and charge them as much as I can to where
Yeah.
it's hard for them to say no.
So again, Dan, real quick, you're not a businessman. So
No, but Alvin is.
when you're the one that's selling a good, you don't basically try and glean how much the person has to sell or to buy the good. What you do is you set a price, and then that person determines whether they can buy it or not. If you're wanting to bilk them, then what you want to do is charge them double what it costs, 100% more than what it costs, because that's unfair. Obviously so, but they're willing to pay 200%
Okay.
more than base price, and that's
Okay.
what they pay. You're
That's
effectively, if they sell you, if you're selling 1 gold piece worth of a thing, they're paying you 3 gold pieces, and that's
Okay.
more than you were anticipating.
Okay, cool.
Cool. It does seem like some of them are interested in drinking, and there is one specific individual, the young dwarf lordling, who is finely dressed, who in this engagement looks to you and says, "There is an old temple within this town. How might I gain access to it?"
I would be more than happy to show you.
Great. Very good. And you are?
My name is Halo, as most people call me. I am the spiritual guide to the town, but I am well versed in more religions outside of my own.
I am Berwick, Dark Welder.
Pleasure is mine, Berwick.
I am the next king of Valenroth.
Well, I'm happy to invite you into our town. Please, I'd be happy to escort you.
The two of you head to the old temple. It looks like he's the only one from the retinue that remains. The rest of them start heading back across the bridge. The two ships maneuver around, and enter into port.
Before
There's-
they leave, could I interject?
Shoot.
I would just kind of detail when my ship was shot down and ask them if they retrieved anything or found any survivors.
So,
Prisoners of war.
real quick question, my friend. Just so we understand each other here. Do you happen to know what the leader of the Rob Tier Society is doing right now?
Does Alvin? Because Dan doesn't.
No, you wouldn't.
Okay.
And he says, so why would you anticipate the movements of the Darkhelm clan to be known by the master of the Dark Welder clan?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, if you'd paid attention. Yeah, they're not, it's not one contingent force. Darkhelm is just the strongest clan and seems to be pulling others into the battle on the west coast. This guy is basically saying the king is dead, and
Well, who would I speak with regarding possible prisoners of war?
fuck if I know. Genuinely, that, but in like a much cozier way of saying it. He has no idea,
Fuck if I know.
and that's not at all his matter. But yeah, he doesn't stick around. They pay basically 3 times normal, 3 times normal asking price for all goods within the town, and the lordling goes with Halo to the temple. Anything else between anybody else who was there? Okay.
I mean, Ulair did mention Tim did mention in the chat the Monsters Hunters Guild is around, but I have a feeling that if I mention that, the dwarf will say, "Oh, that's nice," and just kind of leave.
Yeah.
So,
Also, elementals isn't really something you've ever faced off against.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, but he's always up for a challenge. Come on, John.
Yeah, raw primal energies are not something you've ever seen on the Rendon Island. It's also really hard to mount, air elemental and sell that. It's not.
You don't mount it. You put it in a jar and you just open it up every once in a while on like a really hot day.
Perrier.
How many days has it been
Shit.
since the airship was shot down?
2,
2.
3, 2.
Okay.
Hasn't been long. I like the bitterness.
I want to try and see if I can get a party to scout or see if, I don't know, we can find any survivors or bodies, something.
Also, as a minor thing, Alcantara would kind of apologize to Alvin and to say that she wasn't intending to hurt his pride. with
Pride
her
isn't-
earlier comment.
Pride isn't hurt.
Let's deal with the temple. You would probably actually have the keys to the temple. It is locked with a massive gate, so people don't go in and deface it. Some people who are less respectful have tried, and kids, young tykes, still kind of get into the temple. But,
Also, quick point, I might tag along for this. I might not say a lot though, but
Okay.
just
perfectly fine. You open up the gates and head on inside. You would note that all representatives of the Dwarfs, the Dwarven Pantheon, are present. And you would see that this temple seems to favor the father of the dwarves, Beldendar. You can tell that this temple was built in modernity. It wasn't built a grand long time ago, but in close enough of an era to represent Beldendar as the returned. So in Dwarvish religion, Beldendar was the father, and the Pantheon continued on for a long time before the Grey War, and then the Covenant of the Ascended was formed. And an individual named Kilgore Orkbasher, a normal dwarf, traveled all across the world, uniting the remaining dwarves because they had taken quite a massive hit to their species during the Grey War, and basically united those clans together and ascended to become the god of the dwarves when Beldendar's spirit required mortality to become stronger. And he was the mortal who sacrificed himself and became Beldendar reborn. So the main difference is old Beldendar statues would basically just be a dwarf in robes with a crown, and the Kilgore variants, the reborn Beldendar, is a dwarf with a crown but carrying a massive hammer and a massive shield. What are you doing? Sorry, I'm getting attacked. Oh my god. Oh wow, that was adorable, but at the same time very scary. He stood up on his back feet like a mongoose. Berwick immediately goes to that statue and settles himself down, placing his sword out before it, and begins praying in Dwarvish.
Can I pray in Dwarvish with him?
You speak Dwarvish?
I do.
Yeah. Make a religion check to see if you can keep pace. So with a 9.
I'm gonna burn my inspiration to get that 16.
Okay. So with a 16, it's not too bad. You're a musical person, so you'll get this reference. You know when you're singing along with a song that's pretty fast-paced and you're like trying to keep up with the lyrics, and sometimes you don't exactly say this word.
I've got the first word and the last word of every line, and like the 4 in between are kind of jumbled.
Well, that's how it would have been if you'd gotten that 9. It's more or less
enough.
just one every other, maybe every couple of sentences kind of falls off. But you can see that this Berwick kind of notates that you're following along and being respectful of the practice, and is very glad for it. You then notice him kind
And to note, This is like probably one of the only places in town that doesn't have all of like the special lights and like colored glass that we've kind of added over top of the dwarven area. We've like maintained most of the temple in its original state.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no attendant for it. No one's actually, remained with it. But yeah, of course, you haven't done anything to the outside or inside of it to nicify it. But as he's kind of standing there, or sitting there, kneeling there rather, praying over his sword, you see him kind of reach down into his pack and pull out a bag of something that kind of jingles as he moves it up. He then opens up the bag and starts pouring out glass shards onto it. And being a glassworker, you recognize it as being kind of pure residuum that's been kind of settled into crystalline structures. As he kind of places all that on top of it, he starts continuing his prayer, moving his hand over top of the weapon and praying. And it's at this moment, even you, Alcantara, kind of get this very strange sense of kind of power, kind of entering into this house of the Dwarfs and kind of filling the whole place. The sun kind of beaming through the windows, which are old and kind of dirty, seem to kind of come through. The light from the sun seems to kind of come through with a rugged orange, like the inside of a forge, as it starts to kind of heat up and become hot. And you watch as the glass kind of melts over top of the blade. He pulls out a couple of tools and starts kind of maneuvering them across the blade. A loud clanging noise coming from the temple for all outside to hear. And after about a half an hour or so of this kind of work, I'm gonna kill my cat.
You were just saying clanging. I thought I heard that with
I built a wall out of a box and some stuff to block him from being able.
Wall.
Tear down the wall.
Baby wall, baby wall. Yeah, and he's apparently Reagan. Yeah. Cat Dad, tear down this wall. So, anyways, he's gonna go ahead and sit in his box of shame. How could you? The glass melts. He kind of works his tools over it. After about 30 or 40 minutes of this process, with the extra, hour or so he spent in the ritual process, he finishes his prayers, and that sense of power kind of stops lingering in the temple, and you can see that his blade now kind of has like a orangey kind of color to it. He takes it up and he smiles. I thank you for the access.
Of course, I would never bar someone from an act of prayer.
There are others amongst my clan and our cousins who would be interested in coming to this place. It has power. It was built as a bulwark against the schism. Sorry, I'm beating up my cat. Hold on, I'm gonna lock him out. 1 second. Sorry, I'm the one talking. Hold on.
No worries.
Sorry about that. He says, if they were wanting to come here on pilgrimage, would they be allowed?
Of course, I do tend to keep this place under lock and key. They would have to meet me at our temple first, but I'm more than happy to escort any who would like to pray.
The three of you hear a voice come from the door. I'll watch over it. And as you kind of snap your view back to the door, you see Balthar standing in silhouette at the door.
I will look to Lady Alcantara for like a nod or a look that says that that's okay, because it's really not my place to like hand over the keys to the temple to Balthar. But like, if she says it's cool, I'm cool with it.
Berwick stands up and kind of looks that way. You see him kind of grip the sword hilt, looking at Balthar.
I'm muted. I should unmute myself when I talk.
Please.
Balthar, I wasn't expecting to see you today.
Balthar Cobblemug, Berwick says aloud.
Yes, he is quite a useful ally of ours in this city.
You can kind of see like that doesn't hit him the way you were hoping. Like he seems to kind of grimace a bit.
Oh no, I was actually saying it more to try to get a reaction out of him.
Well, you nailed it. You got exactly the reaction you were looking for. Balthar kind of steps inwards and looks to him. The ritual of purifying glass, he says as he looks to the sword. Berwick kind of looks down to his blade and then looks up to Balthar. The hatreds of my father and his relatives are not important to me. Balthar grins. Good. A lesson many can learn from. Berwick kind of takes a second and says, your clan was dashed upon the rocks, you know. Thrown into the eye of the world. Balthar nods his head. I know. How could you let that happen? Berwick says. Cobblemug shrugs. I no more let it happen than I let the rains fall. Berwick kind of looks down at his sword again. I will not disgrace your allowing me to utilize this temple for its right, nor will I besmirch the opportunity for others to come to this place on goodwill, especially not for my father's hatred. Master Cobblemug? Balthar nods his head. Dark Welding? Berwick nods. You're next in line to be king, are you not? Berwick grins. What I've seen of you, wisdom doesn't seem to be too far from your mind. I suggest taking counsel with some of the elves present, if you plan on staying for a time. Learn more about the world outside of Dark Elm. If you wish to rule more strongly than the king. They kind of exchange nods and Berwick exits. Balthar remains. A bit more of me on the table, he says to Lady Alcantara. I suppose it's only fair I know everything about you from swaddling clothes onward.
Yes, well, we all have our secrets, but perhaps it is not necessarily wrong to let others know some of them.
It's time for me to stop bearing them. I will take the temple matters seriously. I will reside here. I have already told my son to watch over my matters at home. He nods and looks to Halo for the key, if it's being granted to him.
If Alcantara doesn't stop me, then yeah, I fly it over to him. And it grows 5 times its size.
He looks to Lady Alcantara. In my business efforts, I have tried to guard you and allow for you to flourish. Now that your father has passed, I understand more of my nature and I understand more of how it can be a problem. I will remain here and grant you guidance if you seek out information, assistance, blessings, possibly rituals. I'll have to dust off my copy of the Dwarfs, but I'm sure it will be like a hammer to the anvil. You never forget how it works. I will remain here.
I hope you know that I'm glad you make this decision.
It's the only decision I could make. If you ever are curious about more of what me and your father went through, I will try to answer. If I can't, Aramis might be able to answer. And if he can't, call upon Maluriel. He wanders off into the temple to go kind of secure the grounds.
Well, Halo. Seems at least things are staying interesting.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
He comes back out in kind of like a rush and he says, if any of those dwarfs are looking for blessings of Thralk, send them here. There's 20 casks in the back. He turns back and heads back in.
As he leaves, I say, "Do you need a few temple patrons to help tidy the place up? I'd be happy to spare a dozen or so just to assist with getting things back on its feet here."
He's already kind of moved back.
And he seems like he's got things under control.
I'd like to say, I just sort of raise an eyebrow and say, what's he mean there's 20 casks?
Your religion check was pretty bad before Halo, so you don't know what he's talking about either. You know who Thralk is?
Oh. 16 isn't enough?
Oh, you got a 16, that's right. Yeah, sorry. You did spend the inspiration. Thralk is the dwarvish goddess, actually in this rendered isle, it is a goddess. She is the third child of Beldendar and Ukamar, and she is the goddess of revelries. She's also the goddess of drink. And typically, her blessings come in the manner of ale, spirits, the like. Most of her temples are bars, and most temples that serve the Dwarfs double as bars.
I briefly convey that message to Akantra.
I wonder if that's why he and my father got along so well. And I wave.
Fair enough. Alright, Alvin, as we mentioned, you have pretty much a good idea of these craft that have entered in to port. There are definitely a number of sailors passing through. If you'd like, you can go ahead and make an investigation check to kind of like ferret out information via gossip and kind of your intendants kind of paying attention to what's being said. If there's anything you're kind of looking for information-wise, it does sound like you are interested as to what you know about prisoners being taken on the western side. Nothing's really going to be gleaned from them on that regard. But if there's anything else information-wise you're wanting to gather here,
sea turtle.
or I can give
Sea turtle. So I'm scrawling a note kind of distractedly. I mean, I'm trying to pay attention, but I'm scrolling a note that I'll have sent to Ulair.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll investigate maybe words of, I guess, since he's on my mind, maybe a sea turtle. Maybe word of, military excursions that happened on the west coast of the island.
Make an investigation check.
Those sorts of things. Maybe word of a shooting down an elegant flying ship, prisoners of war, or anything like that. You said I wouldn't find, but that's kind of where my mind is preoccupied.
Sure. What'd you get on your investigation check?
I haven't rolled it.
Okay.
I'll use inspiration.
Okay. So with 20, regarding the information regarding the western coast, nothing. But regarding the turtle, there were sightings by these crewmen as they were dealing with the matter on the southern coast of the Adamant Isle, and were making their way up and about. That's a bit big.
I don't want to go find this turtle.
They state, and based on your ability to trajectory, they say that it was due east of the city of Aznable of the Rended Isle, and just off the coast. They steered clear of it and kept north of it, but it was present.
Okay. I'll take the note out and I'll scroll that into the note too. And I'll have one of my attendants send it off to Uller.
Of course.
And then I would go to Cyril.
Okay. Turtle added to map for notation. Alright. Cool. Who am I? Okay, so let's see. Leaf and Uller weren't present at the bridge, so let's give them some ground time here. Leaf, early morning, as that's all going on, anything in particular you wanting to engage in? Anything that you want to do?
Yeah. Yeah, I would have hung around with at the funerals that were happening at the temple. What Halo was presiding at, and then he would the next day he would get up and he'd get a gig in the town, invite all of his commoner like fans, and basically play a gig.
Okay.
Bring up everybody's spirits.
So you're playing more for like just townsfolk, like farmer folk, or ports folk, or like where are you kind of centrally kind of locating?
I would like to pick like a daytime outside venue that's close to a tavern, so people could drink, and then while they're listening to me.
Best tavern is right on port.
Yeah, I would do that. Not, invite everybody. I guess I would invite like Halo and Cyril and Uller and Alvin too. Although I would expect they'd be busy.
Yeah, via Twilight Night, that's sent in around. But as you're kind of playing at the tavern, not really getting any reply back, you do notice that there are two strange ships that do enter port, which you would recognize as dwarven submersibles. And it does seem that there are some dwarfs who are making landfall, and it doesn't seem to be like it's not like the storming of Normandy or anything. It's just like they're parking and getting out and being welcome.
Well, I would probably drink a little bit of wine and continue to play and dance and play and have time. I would actually cast enhance ability on myself beforehand. I do that all the time now.
So even more amazing.
You don't get any crappy shows. They're all good. And then,
All right.
I'm going to roll because I'm on a roll so far, like 5 good performances in a row. But
Sounds good.
I am a bard. I got to do that.
Gotta keep up appearances, for sure.
Reputation to uphold.
Oh, yeah, it's a 20 and a 15. Kick ass.
Once again, yeah, you definitely have everyone there. It seems like they've become very regularly enamored of the shows. They are a bit wary of the situation going on outside when it happens, but it seems like they're able to kind of keep solace inside the tavern with your music and your oratory. That said, I think I've got you settled for the majority of the morning there. And then Uller?
If it ends up coming up later with seeing other people, oddly enough, I am sporting Autumn, which is peace and goodwill. I'm sure Halo will have thoughts about that if Halo sees it. Like, huh? But at first light, I would have kind of staff meeting with Fenfir, Badgel, Kalen, kind of encourage them for the work they have been doing in these trying times, and just basically have like a strategy meeting of what we can do to kind of like bolster ranks, how can maybe increase recruiting methods, all that. That might go on for like an hour or so, and then after that, I would just sort of head out into town, knowing that dwarves were something like, all I know is that they were on Nadrasi. Just see if I can put my ear to the ground, hear anything about it.
Yep. So you would see, Retinues moving about, and like since you said you waited an hour, honestly, you'd probably watch the ships moving into port, and dwarfs kind of coming out. It doesn't look like they're spilling into the town and kind of taking over or anything. It just they're stretching their legs. Dwarfs are a very grounded people, and seems like they've been allowed access into the ports. You could probably see Alvin maneuvering about for a very limited time at the beginning, and then kind of moving back to his offices. Other than that, not too many people that you're seeing. You do note that Leaf does appear to be, and probably would have received some sort of notice of this via the Twilight Knight. Leaf is at the tavern just off the port there and is playing.
I would probably then stop in with Leaf, and especially if there's any basically same thing that Alvin did. I'm trying to get some rumors from the dwarves specifically about a turtle though, myself, because I haven't heard from him yet.
Yeah, they're not present in the tavern. They're not entering into the tavern. It seems like they're just kind of staying over by their ships and kind of waiting. And then eventually, if you wait long enough, you'll note that some of them start making moves into the town. But it seems like they're kind of moving with watchmen of the town. And they're heading towards the old abandoned Dwarvish temple.
Okay. So after a time of enjoying Leaf's performance, then I would head closer to or I guess I would seeing this all go down, before I would have approached dwarves, if they're kind of under lock and key, I would actually want to try and link up with Halo to get an idea of what's going on.
Halo, do you linger at the temple for a while, or did you leave right after Balthar kind of started?
I imagine once Balthar's like taken the thing over, unless Alcantara needs more from me, like I would be heading back towards the temple to check in on everything there.
So yeah, you head to the temple.
Cool.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. Let's see. So I got Leaf, I got Ulair. You're going to be meeting up with Halo. And dwarfs are in your town. Sounds like we've got kind of the rest of the day engagement-wise. Sorry, Cyril, after the meeting at the bridge, is there anything you're doing?
Not really. Dan said that he wanted Alvin to search him out, but I don't know if that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, I would try and be in the port as quickly as possible, because...
Yeah, handle the boats. And then after,
Right.
like, kind of getting...
I mean, I would also try and get a glean of how long they plan on staying there, and if they're planning on staying there, I would
They say
try and
next
find
light.
next light. Okay, so there's no point in trying to import more alcohol and stuff to...
Oh, they say, well, we're not traders.
No, I'm talking about to sell to them at a
Oh.
fucking ridiculous price.
Gotcha. It doesn't seem like they're buying too much of your alcohols. It does seem that they are bypassing you and kind of heading into the temple.
Cool.
But yeah.
Oops.
Elf liquor too weak.
Yeah, elf liquor way too weak. But yeah. That said, you would seek out Cyril. So let's say this. Alvin and Cyril meeting up at the Tower of Lore. And then we got Ulair meeting at the temple with Halo. And then Lady Alcontra, after your meeting, or after hanging out at the temple and listening into that, you went back home? Or...
Yeah, pretty much. Probably would have just headed back to the keep.
Okay.
There was something specific that I was just thinking of that I wanted to do, but I can't remember what it was right now.
Not a problem. So I think this is a pretty good stopping point, at least for the day, to be kind of worked through. I've also been up since 5.
Same.
So that said, it sounds like we have our kind of next conversations for next session. Just kind of think on those, and we'll pick up then. Thanks for watching, and adios.